today I'm going to give a hopefully short little lesson on how to play Meditation 1C by Lubomyr Melnyk. I'll just very quickly play for it. It's a simple piece. It's been played on YouTube before by myself and one other person. But yeah, so a new student of continuous music gets the meditation 1, A, B, C, and D as their first exercises. I first played these about 4 years ago. They're quite helpful. So let me just give you a sense of this piece. Just repeats, so the end section is an indefinite repeat that you may maintain for as long as you wish. And the repetition is quite helpful. It's good to find a calmness in this repetition. Yeah, and it's better to think of it as maintaining the sound, like rain droplets falling, rather than simply the player repeats, which sounds a lot more boring and is kind of the wrong attitude to have. So the opening of the piece before this indefinite repetition goes something like this. You hold a D minor chord initially in the right hand, a simple triad, and you just do an F-A alternation in the left. Then you move the left hand to an E, and the right hand also, the index finger is already there, it's already on an E. And then we move down to the C. So the right hand thumb has tiny distance to go, it's basically there, and it plays the C, E, A triad. The left hand is doing this and has to drop down a slightly larger distance to the C there. So in isolation, the left hand is doing, or really it should be a third finger, so. And then I go down to the C. repeat that as long as I like. So. Now I should say that this is middle C, so most of the action is happening on the C 1 octave up, so it's a little bit on the high notes. So this is very easy. So why is this a good exercise? This is very easy for most pianists to just simply do the notes, but the purpose of an exercise like this is to find that calmness. So first of all, your eyes should be completely closed when you play something like this. In almost all of Lubomyr's pieces, your eyes should be closed. Your wrists should be up, and just your arms should also be up a little bit, and it should just really be calm. Your hand should be in this comfortable closed position, so not stretched out, not straining, just kind of sprung back to its comfortable state. And although it is a mistake to describe continuous music as mindless, in the sense that the player should be in a completely unconscious trance, this is not true. For a simple meditation like this is slightly what you're going for. You're trying to not think about the notes, but your mind is still there. So what should your mind be doing? Your eyes are closed. You should be listening to the sound. You should be really hearing each and every single note ring out loudly and with equal strength. So a lot of beginning or even advanced pianists, the right hand is significantly stronger than the left. Everyone is, most people are left or right-handed, that's fine. But when you're playing, there should be a balance. In Lubomyr often says 49%, 51%. So a lot of classical music pieces, the right hand dominates with a melody. Here we want an even balance between the two hands. The left hand rhythm is duple. So there aren't really bar lines or kind of the same rhythm and meter ideas in continuous music, but it has what Lubomyr calls a duple character. The right hand, though, you might be tempted to play triplets or something like this. This is a thing, a trap you might fall into. With this piece, you need to also keep this in a duple rhythm. So. As opposed to. Hopefully you can hear the difference. And really the introduction as well should be quite slow, so not much faster than how I played it. You want this to be slow so that you can just really let your ear focus on the soft ringing sounds. Now in this moment when you drop down, the most natural thing for your left position for your left hand to be in is with the fifth finger on the D, the fourth finger on the E, which is just playing now, E, A, E, A. So when you go down to the C, there's a chance of kind of a sloppy, there's a lot of other notes you could hit there. And if you're not used to playing with your eyes closed, you might have these sorts of errors. So what can go wrong? How can you avoid that? A lot of people, when they play, there's quite a lot of tension in the hand. So my fifth finger used to jut out quite significantly when I was playing. And so if I bring that down now, this is very easy for this jutted out finger to miss. Ideally, if you have this problem, which a lot of people do, you should be trying to play where the active fingers are, of course, active, but the rest of your fingers are just calmly lying on the notes with a minimal motion. So this finger is moving ever so slightly, but not really. It's basically calm and relaxed on the key. It's not jutting out in the air. If I play this now, so you can see my fifth finger is wobbling ever so slightly, but this is a sympathetic response to this motion, right? These muscles are linked. It's not a motion of tension. It's not out like this. You know, that's what you want to avoid. You want to, if you have this problem, you should try and keep your fingers down on the keys, not by holding them there, but just letting them be there and trying to practice, you know, moving some fingers without moving the others. This is an important thing to do. But also when you have your eyes closed and you're making this motion, the real trick is to just hear the chord in your mind, so to speak, to not imagine, oh my God, now I have to move my fifth finger like exactly this far to the left and then bring it down. No, you don't want to be thinking like that. You want to be thinking just simply, what is the sound? And you can just picture in your mind this C-A chord, and then it will happen. This takes a bit of getting used to, but it is the thing to do, because the whole point of this piece is to have a nice soft ringing sound, but in a very calm way. You don't want to be straining your attention to get the notes right. Okay, so you do that for a minute, 2 minutes, something like this. So you've and something I should have mentioned earlier, you want to really hear the left hand ringing mellowed. So I want to hear that when you play. And you want to hear that when you play, and you want to focus on it. That's kind of the dominant tone in this introduction, but don't get completely lost in the dominant tone. Try to listen to the other notes as well. It's a good exercise in mindfulness, I suppose. But okay, so we're doing this. Then we transition to a C, so we just drop down to the G notes. And the most natural thing to do is have your fourth finger here, but you want to switch to a 1-3-5 position rather than a 1-2-4. You don't have to do this immediately. In fact, I suggest you don't do it immediately. Just do what I did there, as simple. But you want to do that with your eyes closed in a calm way. And what helps me is I just imagine having my third finger on the E instead of the second, and then the rest of the hand moves in the appropriate way to make that happen. Okay, so now we're on this C major chord. And I'm still listening to all of the tones ringing, in particular the bass C, and I'm not playing triplets. Then we introduce the F, so I move now here. I recommend having your wrist up and relaxed always, but in particular here, so you can do a little swinging motion. It's very common that the left index finger is too weak. So you can just support it with the wrist and do a calm back and forth. What you don't want to be doing is just going with all of the fingers doing the work. You want to have the whole hand supporting what's going on. What happened there? We're doing C, D, F in the right hand and C, F in the left hand. The right hand thumb moves down to the B, And what I just did there was a bit exaggerated, but it's what you should be doing. You just swivel your wrist over to let the thumb reach the B. The right hand, if you're doing this swinging motion like I suggest, now just swings down onto the fourth finger and plays this D, G chord. So you're going with a C and the F, now with the D and the G. Then there's this moment of dissonance or tension, and we're playing F and G in the left hand with the 2 and the 1, and B, D, E in the right hand. So we've just gone from here. Sorry, we've gone from here to here. And it's good to listen to the slight tension that this has, and then you resolve the tension by going to the C major position. So the left hand is doing E and G, and the right hand is doing C, D, E. And there you've made it. So that's home now, this very calm sound. That's home, and the rest of the piece is just a little flux around this home position. So the first bit of the flux goes as follows. You're doing this. So that might be a bit tricky with your eyes closed if you're not used to it. There's a big change there, but again, so sorry, what is the change? Firstly, you're doing E and A in the left hand, you're doing C and A in the right hand. So we were here. Now, if you have your eyes closed, your fifth finger is not too far away from that E. But the thing to do is just to imagine your second finger going to this E, and just imagine the sound of that chord. So play it with your eyes open first, and listen to that sound in your head, and just move towards it. That's the thing to do. Now, we're here, and as always, we're listening to all of the notes, but in particular, the left-hand drone we want to keep nice and loud. We don't want the left hand to be dwarfed by the right hand. Now, the next position is the C, D, F in the right hand and F, A in the left. Then we go to a B minor, I suppose, or G major, depending on how you look at it. You drop down to the B, and your fifth finger is already in the right place. So you're playing B, D, G in the right hand. Left hand is doing this. By the way, if you find yourself doing this with the left hand 2 and a 1 with the F and the A, try to change position to the third finger. So just a very calm, gentle change like that. Now we introduce the G. Sorry, we introduce the G in the other way, so that the thumb drops down. So we're doing F and G in the left hand and B, D, G. So now I'm doing B, D, F in the right hand and D and G in the left. In your mind, you want to be moving kind of harmonically listening to the sound, you want to be moving towards the home position again. And you're back. You can repeat that. There's also an alternative way to come back to the home position. So you can be here. So you start in the same way. You move to the A minor. But now your fourth finger is in the correct position to just do the D, A now. And the right hand does the same thing as it did before. So it plays C, D, F. The left hand thumb moves down to a G, and the right hand returns to the G position. And I want you to be listening to this. I can hear that D gently kind of throbbing all the way throughout. You should be listening for that too when you play. Sorry, where was I? So yeah, we're here. And then it's the same as before, so B, D, F in the right and F and G in the left. And then we're back to home. You do that as long as you please. You maintain that sound. So some general points. The pedal, I should have said at the start, the pedal was held down the whole way through. Do not lift it up even for a moment. It's good to be comfortable with that. That's normally forbidden in piano playing, but it's part of the essence of continuous music. So you're maintaining and listening for these tones, and they actually need to be allowed to live, right? So if the pedal is not down, they will just be curtailed immediately. Immediately, the sound is wrong, completely wrong. But this way, with the pedal down, you can listen to the sound. Each of the figures can be held for as long as you wish. Each of the individual chord positions, such as this. You can hold that as long as you want before you return to the home. The sense of time and musicality partly comes from how long you hold a given figure, but you shouldn't force it, you shouldn't dictate a specific length of time, a specific duration. The duration should be living, so to speak, so it's kind of organic. There's no fixed score that you must follow note for note. And again, because these meditations are supposed to allow you to find calmness at the keyboard and calmness in the hands, if you just need a little longer to sink into a figure and get used to it, that's fine. That's what you should do. When you're doing chord changes, so I don't know, like we were doing this. The specific rate at which you enter the new figure is not important, and the right hand can change before the left hand does, and vice versa. So what do I mean by that? I mean, so we were here. what I just did there, the right hand came in slightly before the left hand changed. That's fine. Another thing that's fine is that when you change, you can start with both hands on their bass or not. You can start in the other way. That's fine. So you can do this. So that's when both hands started on the bass or of their figure, or you can do it the other way around. It's a little bit harder to achieve the other way around. So that wasn't quite right. But you want to you want to feel comfortable with both rates, starting on different ones. And it's good to try and practice it so that you can actually achieve that. You can manage to enter in two different ways. Sometimes that might mean letting your left hand come in first before your right hand or something. I fumbled it there because it requires a bit of concentration, and you need to figure out beforehand what's most comfortable for you. I don't want to do that on camera, I'll just make a mess for 30 seconds. But in all of Lubomyr's basic pieces and more advanced pieces, the rate is typically not important, and it's typically good practice to enter the new chord or chordings in different ways. The main point is that it should just feel relaxed. So you shouldn't be thinking like, okay, now I really concentrating on, you have to make this change. The thing you should have in your mind, because your eyes are closed, you should hear the new chord, maybe visualize slightly what it's going to look like, and just do it. But with these meditations, you really can let yourself get carried away by the sound, and after enough practice, the hands will just already know what to do. And this is the goal of these meditations. The meditations are designed to let you realize one of the aspects of continuous music in easy or an accessible way. So there are lots of states of mind needed in continuous music, and this is like a foot in the door. You can get a sense of that through these meditations. Yeah, that's, I think, all I have to say about this piece.